Hello everyone, welcome to Guru TV. I'm your host Jason Sutton from the Dana Rader Golf School. On today's show we're going to talk about body pivot and the different types of body pivots that are available to you and what fits into your golf swing. Now in the past you've heard me talk a lot about neutral pivots, and then you've heard a lot about pivots that move off the golf ball. Now for those players out there that are having a little bit of trouble with their contact, I recommend, if your flexibility level is such, that you stay a little bit more centered over the golf ball. Now, in order to do this, you have to have, I'm going to turn to the side here, a little bit steeper shoulder plane. So you can see how basically my left shoulder is going to go down, which you can see the stick is pointing more toward the target line, and that's going to allow me to stay a little more centered over the golf ball. My head's not going to move much. Okay? For those of you that have always moved off the golf ball and loaded up a lot on your right side, you might feel like you're making a little more of a reverse pivot. That's really not the truth, but I get that comment a lot. So the key is, as you're making your takeaway, your right hip has to work up and behind you. The only way you're going to get a reverse pivot is if the hips move laterally too much. This is where we see people get in trouble. Right hips move to the side, shoulders can't turn very much, and you get a little bit too much side bend forward. So we're going to make sure that two things happen. My left shoulder is going to go down, my right hip is going to go up and behind me, and I'm going to keep my head as stationary as possible. This is really going to help us to get that divot and get low point forward in the bottom of our golf swing, which is crucial to hitting the ball solid, especially with your irons. Now, for those of you that maybe don't have the flexibility to maintain your posture with this sort of pivot, if you can't, take your club back and stay tilted over, you may have to flatten your shoulder plane a little bit, which is more of what I call a positive pivot. Now we've got more side bend away from the target, and the shoulder plane's a little flatter. Now you're going to move off the golf ball a little bit more, which is going to require you to have to shift forward and get back on top. Requires a little bit more timing than the neutral pivot. So let's review. We've got the neutral pivot, left shoulder down, right hip goes up and behind, head stays stationary. The positive pivot, flatter shoulder plane, a little bit more spine angle away from the target, a little more load into the right side. So I suggest that once you get your neutral pivot down, you've got your arms swinging a little bit more around you and a little flatter, that you're going to have a nice combination to strike the ball a little bit more solid. I hope this helps you, and we'll see you next time on Guru TV.